Billions of people are drinking olive oil before bed, and most of them are wasting it because a tablespoon of olive oil taken straight only gives you a fraction of what it can actually do. The key is how you combine it with the right ingredients for the right purpose. And today, I'm going to show you exactly how to do that. I'm Dr. William Lee, 15 years as a cardiothoracic surgeon. Every day, I work with older patients whose bodies have endured chronic inflammation, stiffened blood vessels, and poor sleep for years. And I've realized that many of them didn't need to end up on my operating table if they'd started simple changes sooner. With the right tools at the right time, extra virgin olive oil is one of those tools. Not because it's a miracle, but because the science behind it is more serious than most people think. The PREDIMED trial, which followed over 7,400 participants and was published in the New England Journal of Medicine, found that people who consumed olive oil daily reduced their risk of major cardiovascular events by 30%. 30%. Not from a medication, from a tablespoon of oil. But here's what most people don't know. Extra virgin olive oil contains over 30 bioactive compounds. The most important is a natural anti-inflammatory called oleocanthal. You don't need to remember that name. Just know that it works similarly to common pain relievers like Advil, but without the stomach damage. And oleic acid, the healthy fat that makes up roughly 73% of olive oil, directly protects your blood vessels and supports your heart. Researchers at the University of Athens discovered that oleocanthal reaches its peak anti-inflammatory activity during the body's natural overnight repair cycle, meaning drinking olive oil before bed isn't just good for you. It may actually be the optimal time to do it. The problem is that drinking it straight, your body only captures a fraction of the benefit. Combine it right, and the effect multiplies. In this video, I'll share 7 benefits of olive oil before bed, ranked from powerful to extraordinary. Each benefit comes with a specific combination you can start using tonight. And benefit number 1 involves a compound in olive oil that researchers discovered can help your brain clear toxic proteins while you sleep. The same proteins linked to cognitive decline. Before we start, I want to ask you something. How old are you? And what's your biggest health concern right now? Your heart, your joints, your memory, or your sleep? Put it in the comments. I read every single comment on this channel, and your answers help me decide what to cover next. Starting with benefit number 7, deeper sleep, fewer wake-ups. Poor sleep in adults over 60 is rarely just about stress or bad habits. More often, it stems from what scientists call neuroinflammation. Chronic low-grade inflammation inside the brain that silently disrupts melatonin production and blocks the deep restorative sleep stages your body needs to recover. Think of neuroinflammation like a low fire burning inside a factory at night. The workers, your brain cells, can't do their repair jobs properly because they're constantly dealing with the smoke and heat. After 65, this inflammatory burden increases significantly, and sleep quality declines along with it. This is where olive oil becomes worth paying attention to. Oleocanthal, the natural anti-inflammatory I just mentioned, inhibits 2 key inflammatory enzymes called COX-1 and COX-2. Same mechanism as pain medications, but without the stomach damage. The very problem that prevents many older adults from using anti-inflammatory drugs long-term. When you take a tablespoon of high-quality olive oil about 30 minutes before bed, you're sending your brain a gentle anti-inflammatory signal right when it needs to shift into repair mode. Research published in the Journal of Nutritional Biochemistry found that participants who consumed olive oil polyphenols in the evening showed a 28% improvement in sleep continuity, meaning they woke up less often and spent more time in the deeper stages of sleep. For someone who's been sleeping in fragments every night, 28% is a real difference. I want to tell you about Gloria. Gloria, 72 years old, retired nurse from Savannah, Georgia. She wasn't someone who couldn't fall asleep. She could. The problem was she couldn't stay asleep. Every night, around 2 to 3 a.m., she'd wake up, heart racing, mind wide awake, and she'd lie there staring at the ceiling, knowing she wouldn't fall back asleep. Gloria had tried melatonin, tried chamomile tea, tried cutting caffeine. Nothing really changed. I suggested she try a different combination. 1 tablespoon of extra virgin olive oil with a small handful of tart cherries about 30 minutes before bed. Tart cherries are one of the few natural food sources of melatonin. Combined with the anti-inflammatory effect of olive oil, these two work through 2 different pathways at the same time. One calming inflammation, the other supporting the sleep hormone. The first 2 weeks, Gloria said she still woke up, but fell back asleep faster. By the 3rd week, the middle of the night wake-ups dropped from every single night to 2 or 3 times a week. After 6 weeks, she told me, "I'm not afraid to turn the lights off anymore." First time in years. If you want to try this, here's how. 1 tablespoon of extra virgin olive oil, cold pressed. When you swallow it, you should feel a slight peppery bite at the back of your throat. That's the oleocanthal. If your olive oil doesn't have that bite, it doesn't contain enough anti-inflammatory compounds to make a difference. Pair it with a handful of fresh tart cherries, frozen tart cherries, or about 2 to 3 ounces of unsweetened tart cherry juice. Take it 30 minutes before bed. This is not a sleeping pill. You won't feel drowsy right away, but after a few nights, you may notice that your sleep is deeper and less interrupted. Better sleep is the foundation, but there's another benefit happening while you sleep that every adult over 60 needs to know about. It's directly connected to your heart and what's going on inside your arteries at 3 a.m. Benefit number 6, protecting your arteries while you sleep. Here's something I explain to every patient who's worried about their heart. The most dangerous time for your heart isn't when you're exercising or under stress. It's between 3 o'clock and 6 a.m., when blood pressure surges naturally and your arteries are at their stiffest point of the day. That's why many heart attacks don't happen during exertion, but during sleep or right after waking up. After 70, arterial walls gradually lose their elasticity, a process accelerated by inflammation and oxidative stress. And that stiffness puts pressure directly on the heart itself. But here's what you need to understand about cholesterol. LDL, the type everyone calls bad cholesterol, isn't actually dangerous in its normal state. It only becomes dangerous when it's oxidized. Oxidized LDL is what embeds into arterial walls and starts building plaque. Oleic acid in olive oil, the healthy fat that makes up the majority of its composition, has been shown to reduce LDL oxidation. A clinical trial at the University of Navarra followed 296 adults over 65 for 3 years. Those who consumed olive oil daily showed a 22% reduction in oxidized LDL markers compared to the control group. But the truly interesting part is the timing. Your liver does the majority of its cholesterol regulation work between midnight and 3 a.m. When you drink olive oil before bed, you're supplying your liver with healthy fats and polyphenols right as it begins its night shift. Like handing workers their tools and supplies before they clock in, instead of making them search in the dark. And here's what I see again and again in my practice. Patients come in with high cholesterol. The doctor prescribes a statin. Follow up in 3 months. But almost nobody asks what they eat, what oil they cook with, or whether they have any nutritional habits that could help. Not because doctors don't care, but because in a 10-minute appointment, a statin is the fastest answer. And a tablespoon of olive oil isn't part of any standard treatment protocol. If your doctor prescribed a statin, keep taking it. But I believe you deserve to know that there are simple things that can support you alongside your medication, and nobody's telling you about them. If you want to boost the heart benefit, here's the combination. 1 tablespoon of extra virgin olive oil with a small piece of dark chocolate, 85% cacao or higher. The flavanols in dark chocolate, combined with the polyphenols in olive oil, have been shown to improve endothelial function, the health of the cells lining the inside of your arteries, by up to 40% compared to taking either one alone. 40% from a tablespoon of olive oil and a piece of dark chocolate. Take the olive oil, eat the chocolate, and go to sleep. That might be the simplest evening routine you've ever done for your heart. But olive oil doesn't just protect your blood vessels. The next benefit relates to something millions of adults over 60 deal with every single morning: joint pain, stiffness, and the feeling that your body needs 30 minutes to warm up before it can move normally. Benefit number 5: joint restoration while you sleep. Inside every joint in your body, there's a thin layer of tissue called synovial tissue. This layer produces the lubricating fluid that allows your bones to move smoothly against each other. Think of it like the oil seal inside a mechanical engine. When that seal thins out, metal grinds directly against metal. After 60, this tissue begins to shrink. Lubricating fluid decreases. Inflammation starts eating away at the cartilage underneath. That's the biological foundation of osteoarthritis, a condition affecting more than 32 million Americans, the vast majority of them over 60. And here's what the research shows. Oleocanthal doesn't just fight inflammation in general. It targets a specific protein called IL-1 beta, the primary signal that tells your body to destroy joint cartilage. When you block that signal, you don't just reduce pain. You may actually slow down the structural destruction of the joint itself. A 12-week study published in the journal Nutrients found that participants with knee osteoarthritis who consumed extra virgin olive oil daily reported a 41% reduction in pain scores and a 38% improvement in joint mobility without a single prescription medication. The reason taking it before bed matters here specifically is that growth hormone, which drives tissue repair, including cartilage, peaks during the first 2 hours after you fall asleep. When you take olive oil before bed, the anti-inflammatory compounds are present in your bloodstream right when your body begins repairing your joints. I want to tell you about Raymond. Raymond, 73 years old, retired electrician from Knoxville, Tennessee. He'd been dealing with right knee pain for 4 years. He'd gotten used to the pain, not because it was mild, but because he didn't believe anything could help besides painkillers. When I suggested he try olive oil combined with warm lemon water before bed, he looked at me with doubt. Cooking oil? For my knee? 3 weeks later, Raymond called, but the first thing he mentioned wasn't the pain. He said, "Doc, this morning I stepped out of bed and walked straight to the kitchen. Didn't have to sit on the edge of the bed for 5 minutes waiting for my knee to cooperate." That's what he noticed before the pain even improved. That moment of stepping out of bed without needing to warm up his knee first. For people living with chronic joint pain, that's a bigger change than any number on a pain scale. If you want to try this, here's the combination: 1 tablespoon of extra virgin olive oil with a small glass of warm lemon water. Vitamin C in lemon plays an essential role in collagen synthesis, the primary structural protein in both cartilage and the synovial membrane. Olive oil fights inflammation from the inside. Vitamin C supports the rebuilding of joint structure. 2 pathways working together while you sleep. Take it 30 to 45 minutes before bed. The next benefit that might surprise you, because it involves an organ most people don't think about when it comes to olive oil: your gut. And what happens in your digestive system overnight when olive oil is present will change how you think about your overall health. Benefit number 4: restoring your gut microbiome while you sleep. There's a number I want you to hear clearly. Adults over 70 have lost an average of 35% of their gut microbial diversity compared to adults in their 30s. That loss, called gut dysbiosis, is directly linked to systemic inflammation, weakened immunity, poor nutrient absorption, and even cognitive decline. Your gut isn't just where food gets digested. It's the foundation of your immune system and the primary inflammation regulator for your entire body. And here's what's fascinating about olive oil. The polyphenols in olive oil, specifically hydroxytyrosol and oleoropine, aren't absorbed in the small intestine. They travel intact to the large intestine, and once there, they do something very specific. They feed and nourish beneficial bacteria like lactobacillus and bifidobacterium, while simultaneously suppressing harmful bacterial strains. Research at the University of Jaén in Spain found that after 30 days of consuming olive oil polyphenols, lactobacillus species increased significantly and gut inflammatory markers dropped noticeably. Why is nighttime the optimal window for this? Because when you sleep, your digestive system performs a process called the migrating motor complex, a series of rhythmic contractions that clean out your intestines between meals. This process is most active during sleep. When olive oil is present in your system during that time, the gut-supporting effects are amplified considerably. If you want to try this, here's the combination. 1 tablespoon of extra virgin olive oil with a small cup of warm chamomile tea. Chamomile contains apigenin, a compound that supports the integrity of your gut lining. Olive oil provides the prebiotic polyphenols that feed beneficial bacteria. Chamomile protects the gut barrier. Together, they support what gastroenterologists call gut barrier function, your intestinal wall's ability to keep harmful bacteria and inflammatory compounds from leaking into your bloodstream. One small note: if you're dealing with chronic digestive issues, bloating, acid reflux, or irritable bowel, start with half a tablespoon of olive oil instead of a full one to give your stomach time to adjust. If you're realizing that some of the most powerful tools for your health have been sitting in your kitchen this whole time, hit that like button right now. It helps this video reach other people who need this information. And if you haven't subscribed to this channel yet, do it now. We're here every week with guidance made specifically for adults over 60. Now, benefit number 3. Fighting muscle loss, the silent thief stealing your strength and independence. After 60, your body loses 1 to 2% of its muscle mass every single year without intervention. By 75, that can add up to a 30 to 35% reduction in total muscle mass compared to your peak. And with that comes increased fall risk, slower metabolism, insulin resistance, and a dramatic decline in your ability to take care of yourself. The condition is called sarcopenia, and it starts taking your strength long before you notice. The root problem lies in a phenomenon called anabolic resistance. Put simply, your muscles become hard of hearing as they age when it comes to the building signals from protein. The same high-protein meal, a 30-year-old's muscles hear the message loud and clear: rebuild. A 70-year-old's muscles hear it faintly, and the response is much weaker. This is where olive oil does something that genuinely impressed me when I first reviewed the research. Oleuroprene, a polyphenol in olive oil, has the ability to stimulate the production of IGF-1, a hormone that tells muscle cells to synthesize new protein and resist breakdown. At the same time, it reduces the activity of myostatin, a protein that acts like a brake on muscle growth. As you age, that brake tightens. Oleuroprene helps loosen it. Research at the University of Connecticut found that older adults who consumed olive oil polyphenols for 8 weeks showed a 25% increase in muscle protein synthesis rates compared to the placebo group. And the reason taking it before bed matters here is that growth hormone, which drives muscle repair and building, peaks during deep sleep, particularly around 2 to 3 a.m. You need the raw materials present right when your body starts building. If you want to try this, here's the most effective combination: 1 tablespoon of extra virgin olive oil with a small source of protein, a few spoonfuls of cottage cheese, a boiled egg, or a small portion of Greek yogurt. Casein and dairy releases slowly over several hours, meaning your muscles still have fuel at 2 and 3 a.m. when growth hormone peaks. Combined with olive oil's ability to enhance the anabolic response, this is the simplest muscle preservation protocol available to adults over 60. For the best results, add light resistance training 2 to 3 times a week. Olive oil and protein are the raw materials. Exercise is the signal that tells your body to use them. Now, benefit number 2. And if you or someone in your family is living with unstable blood sugar, the next section is for you. There's a phenomenon most people don't realize is happening inside their body every single night. Between roughly 4 in the morning and 8 in the morning, your liver automatically releases stored glucose into your bloodstream to prepare for waking. Doctors call this the dawn phenomenon. In a healthy person, insulin handles this surge smoothly. But in someone with insulin resistance, and over half of adults over 65 have some degree of insulin resistance, whether diagnosed or not, that glucose causes a blood sugar spike every morning, night after night, year after year, silently damaging blood vessels, aging cells, and increasing the risk of type 2 diabetes. Extra virgin olive oil before bed addresses this problem through two pathways at once. First, it slows gastric emptying. Food from dinner is released from the stomach into the intestine more gradually, preventing blood sugar from spiking after the meal. Second, oleic acid in olive oil directly improves insulin sensitivity in muscle and liver cells, helping your cells process glucose more efficiently. Research published in the journal Diabetes Care found that adding olive oil to an evening meal reduced post-meal blood glucose response by 22% compared to a meal without olive oil. This is one of the changes I made for myself when my fasting blood glucose came back at 124, pre-diabetes. I had to re-examine everything. One of the adjustments I made was adding olive oil combined with apple cider vinegar before dinner. Not because I read it somewhere, but because I looked at the data and realized this was something with real evidence behind it. And the results in my own body confirmed it. I'm not sharing this to say olive oil cures pre-diabetes. I'm sharing it because it was one part of the overall changes that helped me bring my blood sugar back to a safe range. And I use it every day, not just recommend it to patients. If you want to try this, here's the combination. 1 tablespoon of extra virgin olive oil with 1 teaspoon of apple cider vinegar in about 100 milliliters of warm water. Take it 20 to 30 minutes before dinner. Apple cider vinegar has been studied at Arizona State University and was shown to reduce post-meal blood glucose by an additional 19% in people with insulin resistance. When combined with olive oil's ability to slow digestion and improve insulin sensitivity, these two create a simple but powerful metabolic shield for the entire night. One note, if you're currently taking diabetes medication or insulin, talk to your doctor before adding apple cider vinegar, as it may affect how your medication works. And now, benefit number 1, protecting your brain by helping it clean itself while you sleep. This is one of the most important discoveries in neuroscience in the past 2 decades, and most people have never heard of it. When you sleep, your brain shrinks slightly. Literally, the spaces between brain cells widen and cerebrospinal fluid flows through those gaps like a powerful rinse cycle. This system is called the glymphatic system, your brain's waste removal crew. Its job is to flush out metabolic waste that accumulates during the day, including 2 proteins you need to know by name, beta amyloid and tau. These are the toxic proteins that form the plaques found in the brains of people with Alzheimer's disease. If the glymphatic system works well, toxic proteins get cleared every night. If it doesn't, they accumulate night after night until the burden becomes too great. After 65, glymphatic function declines by roughly 40%. After 75, that number can reach 50% or more. This is one of the primary biological reasons why Alzheimer's risk rises so sharply with age. Not because your brain is broken, but because its cleaning system has become overwhelmed and underpowered. And here's the research that stopped me in my tracks. A research team at Temple University discovered that oleocanthal in olive oil stimulates 2 proteins, P-glycoprotein and LRP1, that function as the brain's toxic waste export system. They push beta amyloid out of the brain and into the bloodstream, where the liver processes it. The efficiency of this clearance increased by 50% with regular oleocanthal exposure. 50%. But here's the most critical part. The glymphatic system is nearly inactive when you're awake. It turns on when you sleep. So if you drink olive oil in the morning or at lunch, your brain doesn't receive the same benefit. The timing isn't a minor detail, it's the entire mechanism. And there's one more factor that directly affects how well your glymphatic system performs: your sleeping position. Research at Stony Brook University found that the glymphatic system operates up to 25% more efficiently when you sleep on your side compared to your back. Specifically, sleeping on your left side is optimal thanks to the natural drainage direction of cerebrospinal fluid and the position of your heart, supporting more efficient blood return. This isn't a benefit you feel after 1 week. This is a benefit you feel after a decade, when you still remember your grandchildren's names, still drive yourself around, still live independently, while others the same age can't. If you want to try this, here's the strongest combination: 1 tablespoon of high-quality extra virgin olive oil, ideally with a polyphenol content above 300 milligrams per kilogram, which should be listed on certified labels, with a handful of blueberries or a teaspoon of ground turmeric in warm almond milk. Anthocyanins in blueberries can cross the blood-brain barrier and reduce neuroinflammation. Curcumin in turmeric inhibits amyloid aggregation. Together with olive oil, these 3 create the most powerful nighttime brain protection protocol you can do at home. Sleep on your left side. Take it 30 to 45 minutes before bed. You've just heard 7 benefits, and more importantly, 7 specific combinations. Let me run through them quickly. Sleep. Olive oil paired with tart cherries. Inflammation calmed. Natural melatonin activated. 2 pathways at once. Heart. Olive oil paired with dark chocolate. 85% cacao. Polyphenols and flavonols working together to improve the health of your arterial lining. Joints. Olive oil paired with warm lemon water. Anti-inflammatory reaction from the inside. Vitamin C supporting collagen rebuilding. Gut. Olive oil paired with chamomile tea. Polyphenols feeding beneficial bacteria. Apigenin protecting the gut barrier. Muscle. Olive oil paired with a small protein source before bed. Cottage cheese, a boiled egg, or Greek yogurt. Raw materials present right when growth hormone peaks. Blood sugar. Olive oil paired with apple cider vinegar before dinner. Slowing digestion, improving insulin, protecting your metabolism through the night. Brain. Olive oil paired with blueberries or ground turmeric in warm almond milk. Sleep on your left side. Lymphatic clearance at its most efficient. You don't need to do all of them at once. Pick the one combination that fits the issue you're dealing with most. Use it consistently every night. And I want to challenge you: 7 nights. Just 7 nights. Every evening, 1 tablespoon of extra virgin olive oil, combined the way you choose. After 7 nights, come back here and tell me what you noticed. Before you start, a few things to remember. Choose extra virgin olive oil, cold pressed. When you swallow it, you should feel a slight peppery bite at the back of your throat. That's the oleocanthal. If your olive oil is smooth and tasteless, it doesn't contain enough active compounds to make a difference. If you're currently taking heart medication, blood thinners, or diabetes medication, talk to your doctor first. Not because olive oil is dangerous, but because its effects may influence your dosage. And the most important thing, olive oil doesn't replace medication. It supports it. It's one part of the bigger picture, not the whole picture. Which combination will you try first? Put it in the comments. I read every single comment on this channel, and your experience might help someone else in this community find the right approach for themselves. If this video gave you something useful, share it with someone you care about. A parent, a spouse, a friend. Sometimes one video is the start of a conversation that changes someone's health. Subscribe if you haven't already. Hit the notification bell so you don't miss new videos. We're here every week, made specifically for adults over 60. I'm Dr. William Lee. Take care of your body. It's the only home you have.